What's going on, world? This is Prophet Walker coming to you with another word from the Lord. I'm going to say a prayer, get right on into it. This is a good one. Something I really been wanting to share, but didn't think people would believe me. So I'm going on in to say my prayer. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for another day. I pray that you give the audience the ear to hear, and that they will learn to trust you and seek you, even about secret things, and trust the words of the prophet. In Jesus' name I pray. Okay, so the video today is about COVID-19, the truth, the lies, and conspiracies. Okay, and guys, let me go and set the tone straight for right now. Guys, I know that COVID-19 was a real thing. I know that it was a worldwide pandemic, that many people died. But what many people don't know is that during this time, a lot of lies were told about COVID-19 in order to control it. And a lot of manipulation was done by our government, I think world governments in whole. Okay, so the first thing that God told me, I'm telling the truth. The truth comes from God. The Lord told me, and I knew there was a strong spirit of fear. I knew something was different about COVID than the flu and other diseases that they would say out there, because I could see and sense a strong spirit of fear on people in the community. They were afraid. So what told me was that during the time of COVID, to deal with COVID, that we should pray that he sent angels to block the virus. He said, pray that he sent angels to block the virus. I don't think we understand the power of prayer and what prayer does. Even when something happens, God can move in that situation, send us help, send us angels to fight that thing. So although the pandemic was here, God said he would send angels to block it. God told me that he did not cause COVID, but he would use it. So that was, even though it was a bad thing, God was going to use this time to do some things in the earth. Okay. Another thing, okay, one of the misconceptions that a lot of people were told, this is number one, that COVID was something that was transmitted from person to person. And God told me that was not true, that it is transferred from person to person, but that COVID-19 was out there. There was out in the air. And that by a lot of you ain't never heard of this, but you could catch COVID-19 by your sin. If you were doing sin, you could draw that spirit. It was a spirit also dealing with COVID would come to you. You were susceptible to COVID because of sin. You ain't never heard nobody saying like that. But that's one of the things God told me. He did say that something about, I know, a reference to social distancing, but the children of Israel were completely cut off. But God told me that we need to have been praying. And the thing is, I did not see that. I think people prayed. Some people prayed when people got sick, but for me, I was disappointed. I thought that the world bought into the lies and conspiracies that were told to us because of the fear mongering done by the media and the government about COVID. So the government told us stop, use masks, social distancing. We closed any place where people were gathered together, businesses, schools, churches. Also said that COVID was transmitted from spatter from person to person, that it wasn't aerosol, that it wasn't in the air. And we got this information, majority of this information from the CDC, and particularly from Dr. Anthony Fauci. Dr. Anthony Fauci is an American scientist and immunologist who serves as the director of the Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases from 1984 to 2022. But he's the chief medical advisor to the president. So a lot of this information that we were getting, a lot of these lies that were told, we were getting from him or the CDC. But he is the face. He's the main one who was telling us these things. He's the main one that came up with the mask, the social distancing, and they use the mask all over the world, guys. But the truth is, gave some truth. The lies was that COVID-19 was from person to person. but God told me it was not. Okay, the mask don't work. I knew the mask did not work. Uh, I suffer from asthma. This little piece of paper, if you can breathe through a piece of paper, COVID-19 was a microscopic bacteria. Microscopic, you can't even see it. If you can breathe air in, everything in that air would go through the mask to you. When you breathe out, everything that you breathe out, all your germs, are going to go through the mask, and so the mask did not stop. It did not prevent COVID from coming into you or coming out from you. Now, during the small amount of space that it covered, whether you use that or anything else, it might prevent someone from spitting on your face if they had were infected. But the mask did not prevent COVID-19. So they were telling the government, Dr. Fauci, were telling us a lot of things to control the fear, but also just to control the people. Telling us things that were not true. And one of the groundbreaking things, there was a congressional meeting where they interviewed Dr. Fauci and asked him specific questions. And and I put all these links in the description. I'm gonna go back and check to make sure they're there. But I got the videos where he specifically told us, now that they're interviewing him, one of the key videos, he says that 6 feet, they told us we're supposed to social distance and stay 6 feet away from people at all times. In the grocery store, at different places, stay 6 feet. He says from his own mouth in a congressional hearing that 6 feet was not based on anything scientific. What? That doesn't make a bit of sense. You're telling us that in order to prevent the transmission from COVID, we need to social distance 6 feet. But where did that come from? Why would you tell us something of that nature if it does not, if it's not scientific, if there was no facts behind it? But if you click on the link in my description, even if you can look it up on YouTube, Dr. Fauci says 6 feet is not based on science. He says it with his mouth. It was not based on anything scientific that they did, that he did now. It was based on some old research based off of if someone spit, maybe with the splatter hit someone else. But did they do some tests to see whether you social distance from 6 feet or 10 feet or 3 feet, that if someone had COVID, that them breathing would prevent that bacteria from touching you? There was no studies done, none at all. Okay, so that's a lie. So why would you tell us lies and have people base their behavior during a pandemic on that? Okay. So they also told us that it was spread from person to person, that they'd be in contact with people. So that was also getting people to seclude, to stay in their homes, to stay away from other people. I believe they was doing that, and it affected the economy. It affected a lot of things. It affected people going to work. It affected people going to church. Okay, so but God told me it was out there. But they said that it was COVID was based from person to person, and they didn't want people to gather in large amounts. So whether there was a large crowd of people, they didn't want people to gather, and but they named it because life has to go on. People have to work to pay their bills, to make a living. They made a list of some things or places that they call essential places. Essential places during the pandemic. Look up. There were certain places that they said, well, that were essential to go to. Grocery store, certain jobs. But they didn't put the house of God, church, on that list. You know what I'm saying? But there were places that were on that list that didn't make sense. Like the marijuana dispensary was on the list. Abortion clinics was on the list. You know what I'm saying? So it was some things that they called essential that didn't make sense, it didn't make sense, but that house of God where we could go, the house of God is a refuge. The house of God was the power of God. The house of God, I believe that we believed and had faith that we went to the house of the Lord and prayed that God sent angels to block the virus. We got on one accord and prayed that God would move the pestilence. God would move the virus. God would protect us. But for some reason, it was something They put church on the list with don't go, don't go. But they were mass protests during the time of COVID-19. Remember Black Lives Matter? There were mass protests. People were protesting. And not just that, there's a picture of Dr. Fauci who came up with this thing. Don't go to a lot of sports events were closed. A lot of people weren't there. There's an event with him and his family sitting in an empty stadium at a sport event. Why would you do that if you're the main one giving out this information? Seems like you would partake in it. Okay. One of my other clips that's there where Congress, and if you guys have been watching, listen to social media news, right now, Mark Zuckerberg is coming out to say that the U.S. government censored COVID-19 information. Censored COVID-19, censored COVID-19 information. Told them what to put out and what not to put out. Why would they do that? But the video I saw about Twitter, the lady interviewing, the senator is interviewing an executive from Twitter. The first thing she asked him was, "Are you a medical doctor?" And the lady says, no, she says, "Where did you get your medical degree from?" And the lady says, "I don't have one." She says, "Well, then why were you censoring medical information from Twitter?" And there were specific videos that they censored. They didn't want any information that, like, one thing they said that that if there was one information they said that they censored, they didn't want anyone to know if a celebrity caught COVID. They did not want you to know that there were some people who had a natural immunity to COVID-19. They did not want you to know there was some studies done by Harvard and Yale doctors. Harvard and Yale is one of the most prestigious top universities in the United States. That they did studies, and when they posted it on Twitter, posted information on Twitter, that the information was taken down. And even so, why are you censoring these Harvard, these Yale doctors? And they said her answer was, the United States government told us to. So why is the United States why is the United States government giving out false information and then censoring other information? There's a video by an African doctor who said she was treating my eyes itching, treating COVID-19 with this particular vaccine, and the video was taken down. There were several things that videos that were anything against their narrative, anything against what the United States government wanted to say, that they censored that information. But why would you be censoring? It seemed like if it was valuable information from one of the top doctors, some of the top doctors in the United States, that would be helpful. But they wanted to control the situation. They also, y'all remember when they trying to push everybody to get the vaccine, they were saying that the vaccine was going to stop COVID and prevent the transmission of COVID. Then they come back, no, it didn't stop the transmission. It would just boost your immunity. Then when it came out the next boost, bruh, they always had the narrative changed when it came to the vaccine. And then let's see. I wrote some notes. Okay. And they were forcing people to get the vaccine. So a lot of the people, it was just a big conspiracy about this vaccination. So they wanted people to get the vaccination for a reason. And there's even a video, and it's in my description, y'all, where Dr. Fauci, somebody secretly recorded him saying this with his own lips. You don't have to trust me. I want you to go to the comments. I want you to Google some of the, not Google it, YouTube, because you'll see the video, where Dr. Fauci said that he wanted people to take vaccines. And so what he was going to do is, he says, if you make it harder for people in their lives, then so that they have to take the vaccine, then they'll stop. That they'll give up any ideological reasons why they don't want to take it. Like he specifically says that if that the federal government will back jobs and colleges and universities by enforcing the vaccine. So if you wanted to go to school and the college says you can't go to school unless you take the vaccine, people gonna change their mind. Like, I don't want to take the vaccine, because now you're making it hard for them. He says they intentionally did that. They intentionally made it hard for people in life, on their jobs, to go to school, to force them to take the vaccine. But if the vaccine doesn't do what you say it's going to do, if all the information, other information you do going is lying, if you're lying. So guys, there were a lot of lies given, conspiracies given during the period of COVID-19. I think that they're trying to condition us for something greater, condition the people to believe anything that the government says, believe the lies that the government says without question. Go take a vaccination. Go group mass in numbers. Take the vaccination. Take, like I say, might condition the people to take the mark. You know what I'm saying? Like people say, this is practice. But I just, for me, as a child of God, as a prophet of God, in the Bible, the Bible says that if people turn from their wicked ways, in First Chronicles, I think it's 7:14, if we have got on one accord, like they got on one accord to send out those stimulus checks. Congress has never got on one accord. The Republicans and Democrats got on one accord and passed an act so quick, but they got together. So look, we need to pump some more money into the economy. Let's send them some money. But if we as a nation would have got on one accord, we as the world would have got on one accord to call it a COVID-19 week, a COVID-19 day, and the world humbled ourselves in prayer. The president, the vice president, Congress, everybody stopped. They had like a worldwide, like when they have the president comes on the TV. We humble ourselves before God. We're praying, we're repenting, we're begging and asking God to help us, to deliver us from the top, from the head, from the White House. You know what I'm saying? From in Russia, in China, all over the world, and cried out to God, God, we need you. God, have mercy on us. There's no doubt in my mind God did a miracle for us. There's no doubt in my mind that God would have sent angels, dispatched angels quick to wipe COVID off the earth. But we did not do that. One person did it. He said, Donald Trump did say that he thought that churches should have been on the list of places that were essential to go to. But then he was talked out, the people, he was talked out of that people were against that idea. But brother, I think we failed in that instance, because we have never seen anything like this before. Like not just bird flu or Ebola. I'm talking about worldwide. And I know there was a lot of fear mongering with the news media. They constantly want to show videos of number of people dying every day. I seen charts, number of people dying every day, just to induce fear. And then they're telling you that the older people are going to catch it, they're going to die. Children catch it, they catch it quicker. That if one person in the family catch it, they show videos of how everybody in the family died. I know myself. I know people personally who caught the vaccine. One person caught it, other people did catch it. But there were examples that the parents caught it, the children didn't catch it. Children caught it, the parents didn't catch it. One person in the house caught it, people did not catch it. Might have been one brother or sister who caught it, other people did not catch it. Some people had a sibling or a child who caught it. The person stayed to themselves in their own room, and then they were fine. So there were a lot of things that were just not right. One other thing, and this is that I was told, and I have several people tell me that they were not given any medicine for COVID-19, that there was no medicine. But one of my neighbors said she was given a medicine. So I asked the doctor about it. He said, yeah, they do give it, but you have to have good insurance to get this. And it's very hard to find. But, and I asked how much the medicine costs. It costs $1,500. So guys, it's so much about this. And I even believe that a lot of those COVID tests were automatically going to come up positive. I hate to say that, but that's what I believe. But if you don't trust Prophet Charles, and I know a lot of people might say something in the comments, a lot of people, you want to call me, I don't care. I know what the Lord told me. And even to the point when we started back church, our church did do a lot of, we closed down, social distancing, and as proof of what God meant. And we still had it when we started church. We had people social distancing, one aisle, people could sit, one aisle free, one people could sit. There's some people, you had to come to church with a mask. You know, they check your temperature, all this stuff. And people were not moving as freely as we used to. Even had some ushers as security guards. And then the Lord was telling me, run around the church. And that he had given us time with all that, all the social distance and all this stuff, that he allowed us to do that for a time. But now it was time to get back to business. It was back to doing what we should have been doing in church. Guys, I personally, I don't believe, even as the scripture says, how that the gates of hell should not prevail against the church. You know, upon this rock I build my church, and the gates of hell should not prevail. I just believe that if some of the leaders in the church would have stood up, and did you hear from God say close your church, or did you close your church because the government said to? Did you hear, like you hear a word from the Lord about preaching? You hear a prophetic word. It's a word from heaven. Did you hear God say close the church down? Or did you close your church down because the government said close your church down? Because all churches were being closed down. What dictated your actions during COVID? The guidelines that the government put out that we see that were false, not based on science, just pulled it out the air. You know what I'm saying? To control the situation? Or did you hear from heaven? Did you hear from the Lord Jesus on what to do? And even some people say, well, what about the pastor who said who didn't close his church and died? Okay, does that mean he caught COVID at church? I'm being real. I'm being specific. You can't, guys. No, I stand on what I stand on, guys. I don't. If there was a pandemic tomorrow, are we gonna run hide, or we gonna ask God to do something about it? And we're gonna cry out to God, Father, move this. Go into prayer. If the church that called prayer and fasting, God moved this. If the churches that got together, you know what, we just gonna lay before the Lord in prayer this entire time. You know what I'm saying? Move heaven to get this pestilence out of the way. And if your church did that, if that was that move, please contact me. Let's talk. I would love to talk, but that's not what I heard. Only prophet I heard was Prophet Tommy Arome when it first started, and he was saying Psalms 91. He saw people so afraid, and he started quoting Psalm 91, which I agree totally with. How in Psalms 91 says, because we serve God and you are close to God, that the pestilence and the plague will not come near your dwelling. I stood on that. And in that first season, I did not catch COVID. I walked. I prayed over my home. There was some lot of stuff that I did, and I stood on that. And then so we have to keep praying. We have to stay vigilant, guys. We got to stay close to God. Our government is going away from God. Our government has become corrupt. We have leaders of our government who tell bold-faced lies. Leaders of our government who break God commandments and even censor information. That's against the First Amendment. They're censoring Twitter. They're censoring Facebook, creating a narrative for us to follow by. For what reason? There's even a video, you can look it up, where Dr. Fauci basically said a pandemic was coming years ago. How do you know this, brother? How do you know a pandemic's coming? You know what I'm saying? Why is he saying such things? And then he's in charge when it comes. Guys, we have to pray. We have to watch and pray. But we have to pray. What is God saying? If there's a pandemic next week, y'all, how are we supposed to function as the church, as a child of God? You know what I'm saying? I know people who quit their jobs because they worked as nurses and stuff. They were as security guards at hospitals. They were afraid because of this. Now, I went to the doctor. I even asked the doctor, aren't you afraid, about all this stuff? She said no, because they're they're there all the time. They're surrounded by it. She said you just never know if you're gonna catch it or not. So, but we know that doctors went through that. If there are doctors who treated COVID every day in the hospitals, why don't we see a mass numbers of doctors dying? And I'm not saying they didn't. I'm not saying some of them didn't get sick in the medical profession, but I just believe that we should have, like the children of Israel, got on one accord, prayed, like even when God told Noah to go to Nineveh, everybody fasted. The king fasted, the people fasted, even the animals. They didn't even feed the animals, and God stopped the destruction. So God told me He didn't send it, but God can just stop anything. And so, guys, we need to just be tuned to heaven. And when these natural things come, these hurricanes, the things coming, but natural disasters, whether they're created by man or not, or disasters, whether they're natural or created by man, we need to go to God. We need to be praying. And speak to some people who hear from heaven to tell us how to do it. But yeah, so guys, that's my take. That's what I have always believed, that a lot of those measures that they were telling us did not work. They caused fear, they caused anxiety, they caused people to be afraid to stop what they're doing. Even one thing, I'm an evangelist. I evangelize all the time, but they're telling you 6 feet. Stay away from people. Don't get too close to people. People are telling you, don't get too close to me. And so, or bump shoulders, whatever that stupid stuff they were saying. And I was like, okay, but I evangelize. I come up close into people's personal space. God is telling me anything. Not once did the Lord tell me, don't evangelize during this season, son. I know what's going on. I'm giving you some grace not to evangelize. And so, but that spirit of fear was out there. And for a minute, I know one day I was like, should I? I said, I felt a spirit of fear come over me. I immediately said, no, I will not. I will do exactly what I've been doing before the pandemic, during the pandemic. So while I was out there, I still was telling people about Jesus, y'all. Come on now. And you can say what you want to about it. I really don't care. I still told people, Jesus, that if you were afraid, 6 feet, 6 feet, I will show you some courtesy and stand back. And I'll be all up in your face. But if someone felt comfortable with me talking to them, then I would have a conversation with them. But glued to a mask, when I've seen people wear not just one mask, the same little throwaway disposable mask they wear all day, more than one day. They get the mask, wear it one day, then wear it again. If you're trying to stop the spread of infectious disease, you do not wear. It's like wearing some disposable gloves over and over. They're disposable. You wear it, take it off, throw it in the trash can. Guys, it comes to me, not just you got to hear from heaven, but where's your reasoning? Where's your scientific reasoning? Your ability to judge. So, guys, just take it to heart. If you have some genuine questions, you can call me. But if you call me with some foolishness, telling me I'm crazy, I don't know what I'm talking about. God bless you. But I know what I'm talking about. But watch the clips. It's because now the government is seeing that Dr. Fauci gave some false information. You can look at the congressional meetings. Some of them, they're clips. Some of them, it's the entire thing, which is about like 3 or 4 hours, even longer. But you can see clips of different congressmen asking him questions. And to me, that just blew my mind. I'm even I can't even believe that he even said it out of his mouth. Most people, when they come before Congress, they lie. They're gonna keep lying. If they told a lie, they're gonna keep the lie going. But he told you, 6 feet was not based on anything scientific. He just tell it just like that. A lot of stuff he said. They said one guy asked him about social. What did he say? Was it social distance or mask? One of the mandates for kids at school. I think the kids under a certain age have to wear masks or something like that. And he said, well, we never done it. Dr. Fauci said, we never done any studies on that. How can you tell us to that's like telling me to take penicillin for my cold, but you never done a study to see if this penicillin will work. But you're telling me to do it. Not just telling you, they were forcing people to wear masks, to do 6 feet. If you did not do it, there were stores that would not let you in the store. Places, churches, it was like, this is mandatory. And and then even people would be guilting others. You're not wearing your mask. You're putting people at risk. You're not social distancing. You're putting people at risk. No, I wouldn't. You don't know what you're talking about. That's a lie. That doesn't work. Well, people, if you said it didn't work, they think you were crazy. But come to figure out, it didn't work because they just made it up. So, guys, hey, that's what I have for you today. Let's keep praying. Keep standing for the Lord. And even I just that's it, guys. I just hate the fact that so many people's lives were devastated during COVID. Even God said He didn't start it; He would use it. During that time, I was praying more for other people. I prayed God send the angels to block the virus. I spent more time praying with family, my mother, my grandmother, than I usually did. And I prayed for people who caught COVID. Also, I know people who caught COVID multiple times. I know senior citizens who caught COVID multiple times. You know what I'm saying? They didn't die. Some people did, some didn't. So it wasn't just like a dum dum dum. You know what I'm saying? Automatic death. The death sentence like they made us think it did. So you can't believe everything you hear on the media. You got to use your own discernment, and you most definitely hear from God. God bless you. Hey, what's going on, Tanya? May God bless you and everybody in the comments. Please make comments. Put something in the comments. And God bless you.